Yesterday, I was just another bachelor in a crowded city, living alone in my modest apartment with a half-stocked fridge and a few houseplants that were clinging to life despite my neglect. My evenings consisted of leftover takeout, scrolling through feeds, and the occasional date that ended in polite excuses. I wasn't unhappy, not exactly, but life had a dull, predictable rhythm to it. I never expected that the very next day I would be standing in front of an alien tribunal, wearing ceremonial armor I didn't understand, being proclaimed the official mate of a 7-foot-tall warrior woman from another world. But that's exactly what happened. Beginning, the encounter. It all started when I signed up for the Intercultural Exchange Lottery. Humanity had only recently been welcomed into the Galactic Accord. The program was supposed to be about building bridges between species. Scholars, adventurers, and sometimes just curious civilians would be randomly selected to spend a few weeks living with another species to foster mutual understanding. Most people got postings with peaceful scholars, agricultural worlds, or trade colonies. I, however, drew the short straw or the winning ticket depending on how you look at it. My destination, Dratha Prime, homeworld of one of the most feared warrior species in the known galaxy. The Drathari were legends, towering humanoids with ridged forearms, crimson skin, and eyes like molten gold. Their society revolved around honor, combat, and clan. Most humans were terrified of them, but the Accord insisted that Dratha was opening up, and that cultural exchanges were perfectly safe. I wasn't so sure. The moment I stepped off the transport shuttle, the air felt heavier, denser, like walking into a steam room. Dratha Prime cities were massive fortresses of black stone and metal, banners hanging from spires, soldiers marching in formation. And standing at the docking platform was the most intimidating being I had ever seen. She was easily 7 feet tall, with long braids tied back, armor plates strapped across her chest and shoulders, and a massive blade resting casually across her back. She looked at me with eyes that burned like suns. "I am Kalara, daughter of House Vadran," she said, voice deep, steady, and utterly commanding. "You are the human they've sent." I swallowed hard and nodded. Yeah, that's me. Daniel." Her eyes swept me up and down, not with contempt, but with assessment. Like a soldier sizing up a potential ally or enemy. "Then you walk with me," she said. "Do not fall behind." That was my introduction to Kalara. Middle the bond. For the first few days, life on Dratha was a whirlwind. Kalara was assigned as my guardian and cultural liaison. I think at first she thought I was weak, fragile, like many Drathari viewed humans. But she didn't coddle me. Instead, she threw me into everything. Sparring sessions, clan feasts, war games, and drills. I couldn't match her strength, but I surprised her with stubbornness. When knocked down in training, I got back up. When others laughed at the soft-skinned off-worlder, I grinned and kept going. I learned quickly how to hold a practice spear, how to move with balance, how to survive their harsh outdoor hunts. And slowly, Kalara's attitude shifted. She stopped looking at me like a liability and started looking at me like something else. One night, after a long day of training, she sat beside me on the stone steps of her clan hall. The moons of Dratha glowed silver above us. "You do not break easily," she said. "I've had worse," I lied, rubbing my sore shoulder. Her lips curved. Drathari didn't smile often, but when they did, it was fierce. "Your people are strange. You lack claws, armor, fangs. Yet you fight as though none of that matters." "Maybe that's our strength," I said. "We know we're fragile, so we find reasons to keep standing. No matter what." For a moment, her gaze softened. "Perhaps." That was the first time I thought of Kalara not as a terrifying warrior, but as someone beautiful. The challenge. I didn't know it then, but something bigger was unfolding. Drathari clans had complex traditions regarding honor, bloodlines, and, most dangerously, marriage bonds. Apparently, by training with Kalara, by standing with her clan and refusing to back down when mocked, I had unknowingly signaled intent. In Drathari culture, perseverance beside a warrior was a form of courtship, which explained why, one morning, I was dragged before a council chamber filled with armored Drathari elders. Kalara stood at my side, arms crossed, looking as confused as I felt. The head elder's voice boomed. "Outworlder, you have proven persistence, courage, and spirit beside Kalara, daughter of House Vadran. By tradition you have invoked the right of bonding. Do you accept?" Blinked. The what now? Kalara's eyes widened. "Elders, this was not. He is human. He did not. Tradition does not bend, even for humans," the elder interrupted. "The choice is his." I turned to Kalara. She looked torn, like a storm caught between anger and something else. "Daniel," she said quietly, "if you say yes, you bind yourself to me, to my clan, to my battles. This is no game." The room was silent. Every Drathari I bore into me. And in that moment I realized something. Back home I was nobody. Just another guy in a crowded city, half living life. But here with Kalara I felt alive. Took a breath. "I accept." The hall erupted. The bond sealed. The Drathari bonding ceremony was unlike anything I'd ever seen. Warriors lined the hall, chanting as Kalara and I stood before the flame of Vadran. We each pressed our hands to the firelit stone, drawing a mark across our palms with ritual blades. Our blood mixed, sizzling against the stone. The elder declared, "By blood and will, the bond is sealed." Kalara turned to me, her golden eyes burning with an intensity that made my chest tighten. She whispered, just for me, "You are either the bravest fool I've ever known or the wisest." "Maybe both," I whispered back. When the chant ended, she took my hand, not as a guardian but as a partner. Conflict. Course not everyone was thrilled. Kalara's clan rivals mocked her for choosing a fragile human. One warrior, Torvak, challenged me openly, calling me unworthy. Tradition demanded I face him. Alone. The duel was brutal. Torvak was twice my size, with jagged armor and a sneer that promised pain. He came at me like a hurricane, his blows shaking the ground. I knew I couldn't overpower him, but I could endure. I dodged, rolled, used speed instead of strength. Every time he knocked me down, I got back up. My ribs screamed, my arm ached, but I refused to yield. Finally, when he lunged, I sidestepped and slammed the practice spear into his chest with every ounce of strength I had left. He stumbled, dropped to one knee, and the hall erupted in shock. I hadn't beaten him with power. I'd beaten him with persistence. Kalara stepped forward, pride blazing in her eyes. She placed a hand on my shoulder. "Now they will know. You are mine and I am yours." Ending a new life. Strange to think how fast life can change. Yesterday, I was a bachelor with takeout leftovers in my fridge. Today, I am the bonded mate of Kalara Vadran, warrior of Dratha Prime. Our bond isn't easy. She is fierce, unyielding, and carries the weight of her clan. I am still learning, still fragile by their standards. But together we've found something neither of us expected: trust.